You know, thinking about that school, it really was a treasure. And it didn't look at all the way it does today. I mean, it was really much more primitive in a way. And it had so much charm. The warm wood was throughout the building, the Puavic tiles, the unique floor plan. I think it had three levels and all these little short steps of stairs, and the kids would just bound up and down them, and it was just a delight. It was quite a privilege, actually, to have been able to be that last junior high administrator in that building. And I'll tell you, starting in that building with all of its charm and history, I mean, that building had been open since 1922. It was the original Wall Lake Consolidated School building, and it was really a privilege to be there. It has so much history, and many of the staff members that were there were part of that history.
It was fun. I was warned immediately upon being hired not to buy an elevator pass for many of the upperclassmen. They were notorious for trying to sell them to underclassmen and unsuspecting staff. And then I was hired for the media center position and made a lifelong friend in Betty Spence, the media specialist at the time. And back then, the media center was the heart of the building, and Betty was the soul. And just a wonderful staff. There was a wonderful family atmosphere, and it was a great building. It had its quirks and idiosyncrasies up and downstairs, and we would often run into the boys' bathroom to do things we had to do instead of running all the way around to the girls' bathroom. But no, it was a wonderful place to work.
And it was just a family. The relationships were like a family. You know, there were spats here and there, but we worked on teams, so we got to meet quite frequently. And it just became a group of people that I would forever feel bonded to. So it was always just understanding that there are many paths to success, and trying to help the students understand that one mistake doesn't make your life a mistake. I think those were 10 of the most rewarding years of my life, because I know every teacher makes a difference. There's no doubt in my mind. But here you really felt it. You felt it almost every day, whether it was a parent calling for advice or some help, or it was a student saying thank you, or it was a student who for the first time turned in an assignment.
Yeah, I regard this as a very rewarding part of my life. The 18 and a half years flew by, and I look back with great fondness on the people that I met and got to know here. And I should also say, the school boards, the people that go through my mind as that having come on the school board during the time I was here, very supportive of a kind of a holistic approach to education. There was not a narrowness here in terms of preoccupation with, let's say, K-12 or even elementary or secondary or whatever. They looked to provide service for the community, and I think was returned. I thoroughly enjoyed my time here in Wall Lake. Not only the people that worked in the school district, I found them very supportive of what was going on here, but most important, supportive of education. The point of education was everybody's focus, and the point of learning, I guess, would probably be a better way to put it.
I have to tell you, I think my favorite memory was when we had our first honors banquet. I mean, kids who had, we'd had alternative programs since I'd been in the district, but not to the extent of community high school. So when we had our first honors banquet, when we had our superintendent at the time, Dr. Geisler, and the assistant superintendents come, and those kids were able to celebrate in a way that they never would have been able to celebrate in another school. I just sort of looked around and said, oh my gosh, how far we've come. So we had what we called a mentoring program here with the staff and teams. And kids felt a part of something here that they couldn't feel at a larger high school. So those mentors were actually like a big brother, a big sister, or even a pseudo parent at the time for those kids to go to lean on, to get extra help, just to talk to sometimes. It was so much fun working in this building with all its history and then watching it grow and progress for so many years that when I had to leave, I think I told you I actually cried a little bit and kissed the building goodbye. Actually kissed the bricks because I'd been here for so long.
The building itself, in 2 words, really melting pot. Because everything that you could imagine that would happen in a school system, positive, has happened in this one. From K-12, regular curricular instruction, focused down to middle school instruction. Then it went into a more of an alternative instruction for secondary. That whole time, this building also had administration, business office, marketing, purchasing, community ed, athletic department. This building has had the opportunity to facilitate for this district every facet you can imagine, even maintenance, up until this day. I mean, we have 150 preschoolers in here, 140 adult ed students, transitions departments, community ed offices. All those offices have been able to maintain and stay in this building. It's all I've ever done. It's about the kids, the mission of the district's community ed department, something that Rob Masson and I developed back in the late 80s, came to fruition in the mid 90s. That it's full circle for public schools. Community ed is a piece to that puzzle. There's so many things that children and adults learn here that it's not a curricular piece, but it's a life learning skill. Whether it's how to deal with a team, how to deal with success, how to deal with failure, how to fulfill a commitment, dedication. Those are all things that are learned in a recreation or enrichment-based program. Not necessarily always taught in the classroom, but always productive for a life skill.
No, Jim is one of the best ambassadors you have for Walled Lake Schools, and the way that he interacts with the community and the people that come in this building. I think one of the people I enjoyed working with the most, besides Jim, actually 2 people. One was Henry McCurry, and I had met Henry at Clifford Smart, certainly, when I was there. But we just had a quick connection, and it was fun to see him take on a project that he never thought he could do and be fairly successful at that. And the other person was Sandy Richardson. Just what she was able to do with the foundation, and of course her being moved into this building. So we had just a lot of involvement with that. And of course the high school was here, the alternative ed high school, the late program was here, a lot of community ed classes. This was just a very busy place from 7 o'clock in the morning until 10 o'clock at night. But just to see the growth that occurred in those programs, especially prime time. That was right when they were really starting to take off. And the people that work here, some of them are still here and had been here before I got here and are still here. So that certainly says something about the longevity and commitment of the people that work in this building.